real easy. He gives me a lot of advice, you know. He talks to me about, a lot
What kind of
about.
advice did he give you so that we can make sure that he was giving you correct advice?
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
did he tell you about, like, what KFC really means? Cajun.
Yeah. You can go check out a previous episode about that on Olelo On Demand at olelo.org, and you'll get the KFC kind of thing there.
Well, he's work ethic.
Okay.
He say, work out on your own a lot because it's going to be a lot of times you're not going to be able to get it in the ring, so you have to work hard.
All right.
He would always call me, say, hey, you working out, you doing everything you need to do to debut, and I was like, yeah, and thanks. And,
okay. Right on. Well, again,
there.
best of luck to you here in Action Zone Wrestling moving forward.
Thank you.
All right, perfect. Right on. All right, let's get to the main show now, as we have the senior official, Richard Hamasaki, and of course, as we mentioned in previous episodes before, his behind-the-scenes battle with Arthur Pinpin. And Richard, you mentioned that your favorite referee growing up was Nick Patrick, and you're kind of the middleman between how the match flows here. What was it about Nick Patrick again that you kind of stuck to, and why he was sort of your idol?
I wouldn't say he was my idol,
Okay.
but as a ref, he was pretty much calling it down the middle, and he stood up to the guys.
Okay.
When a wrestler got in his face, he would actually talk back to them, get in their face. He'd try and keep what was happening in the ring, pretty much what was happening, perfectly.
Earl Hebner did the same thing.
True. And he's a great official, too.
Okay. That actually stole merchandise from the WWE. It's a known fact. Your thoughts on Richard Hamasaki as an. Do you think Richard could make it as a?
Wait, did he steal merchandise?
Not Richard.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
you just.
Earl Hebner.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
All right.
Yeah. Could Richard Hamasaki make it as a AZW superstar? You think?
No.
Okay.
I mean.
That's great.
No.
Moving on.
I mean, he's got.
Next topic.
He's got. I mean, he's got the look, obviously, right?
About what? I'm just kidding. No, go on.
No, I think, and I think
We're
Richard.
kidding, Richard.
No, I think
Yeah.
I'm just being honest, you
Yeah.
know. But the thing that makes Richard such a good ref is the fact that he doesn't quit. He's not a quitter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So he still gets there and he still does the work. He still trains and everything like that. So it's not something he quit or anything like that. But I just think he's built for a ref. He's good at what he does as a ref. You mentioned in the other show. I mean, if you're good at one thing,
Mm-hmm.
stick to what you do. You know what I mean? And so, and so for me, I would rather have him as a ref. And I think he would agree with that too. I mean, it's not a slight on him or nothing like that. Just keeping it real. You know, we're on in the
Right.
zone.
Richard, what's the greatest match that you've ever officiated in your mind?
Honestly, I can't remember. There's a lot of good matches out there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Or a couple that stick out in your mind then, not necessarily the greatest that you've done. What sticks out in your mind?
one that sticks out in my mind that I had a lot of fun officiating was DDB and Randy versus PPT.
Okay, Ravenous Randy from
Yes.
ECCW. All right, what was it about that match that kind of stuck out?
Just the chemistry between DDB and Randy was great. It was fun working with both of them.
Okay. Right on. All right, moving on here. You know, we all watch wrestling growing up, and there have been some very irritating wrestlers that have come through, not just Action Zone Wrestling, but in WWE and TNA, excuse me. And a lot of them, they have a short stint in their respective organizations. So growing up, were there any wrestlers that kind of irritated the heck out of you, like you just couldn't stand watching them on television? Let's start off with you, Daryl.
Wow. Yeah, there's a few I mean, that I couldn't stand watching. For, I guess, like WCW, to me, towards their hype was like a lot of times when they had their guest performers, like I just hated every time they had, whether it was Master P or David Arquette.
Right.
I mean, it was
Carl
just-
Malone.
Dennis
Rodman.
Yeah, like
Right.
it just, man,
Jay Leno.
Nothing made you want to flip a channel quicker than seeing that on my screen. And it was because even if they're a crappy wrestler, I would rather see a crappy wrestler than like a C-list celebrity on a wrestling show. You know what I mean? Because still, the worst wrestler is still 10 times better than any other celebrity that they can bring on. So for me, anytime I get celebrities, like, you know, and even with WWE when they had the guest hosts.
Yeah.
Oh my, jeez.
And
man.
Jeremy Piven.
Yeah, Summerfest. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't like every time they have guest hosts
They
and they're
totally
talking.
butcher the,
I cringe for them because I'm like waiting for them to mess up and screw it up because you know they're not fans. And but you can tell the difference between the hosts that are just fans, genuine fans, and the ones who are just like there to just plug some movie they did or collect a paycheck, or stuff like that.
Or you have a writer for WWE, Freddie Prinze Jr., who actually hosts Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, he was actually one of the better hosts. You could tell he know how to
He knew
talk.
his stuff, right?
Yeah.
Any irritating wrestlers that you've seen? Richard?
Well, I'm with Daryl. I hate seeing the guest hosts and the special guys. I mean, come on, David Arquette as the WCW
Now I feel bad
champion.
about saying that that he couldn't be a wrestler now because he's agreeing with me.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
I changed my answer.
I know.
You can be a wrestler anytime you want, Richard Hamasaki.
You can be whatever you want to be, Richard. David Arquette?
WCW practically gave him their world title.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's Vince Russo. That's
Good
one guy
point.
that I couldn't stand watching on TV. Is Vince Russo. Every time, in every promotion, WCW and when he was in TNA, Vince Russo couldn't stand him.
I mean, that is crap.
Okay.
Here in
Right.
AZW, you actually have to earn a title shot.
Okay.
Yep.
Ali, any irritating wrestlers that you've seen?
Well, DDB just mentioned the #1 person that was on my head, which was Vince Russo.
Okay.
And if I have to go beyond that, it would be Snitsky.
Oh, wow, that's a good one.
Snitsky, yeah,
That's a really good one.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
I just didn't get that guy whatsoever. All I know about him is it never was his fault.
Yeah, exactly.
And he liked feet.
Yeah. Look at that. Wow.
That's all I got from him.
You can make the argument that the WWE's top and most popular performer, John Cena, is an irritating wrestler. When you see him on TV, does John Cena kind of rib
No,
you a little bit?
I actually like John Cena. The only time I get annoyed by John Cena is when he kind of shifts into the corny mode with his promos, or when he goes into the homophobic, because it's such a cheap way to kind of get heat.
Right.
And anybody who knows me knows that if you gotta go to the easiest route, then I'm not a big fan of that. So, but I like when he keeps it real and intense and straight and to the point. It's great. He's still got it, and I can see why people love him and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't hate John Cena. I just hate when it's kind of on the cornier side. It's like he'll be talking about something real intense and then he'll jump into like a real corny joke that totally flops, and it's like, yeah, to me. So that's the only thing I think I would say about John Cena is when he gets real corny with his promos.
Richard?
Honestly, I'm not a big fan.
Honesty?
Honestly.
Okay.
I mean, the guy has great work ethics.
First off,
I think that cat got your fong.
I know, a little bit. And I'm pretty sure that when Ali said it, I think he said ethnic. Like if you rewind the tape, I'm pretty sure he said that. But anyway, work ethic. Okay.
But, I don't know, it's they call it in the business, it's a superhero theme
Okay.
where he becomes unstoppable. And I don't like watching that type of wrestling.
Did you like Hulk Hogan?
When I was younger, yes.
Hulk Hogan was the same thing though.
When I grew up and focused more on wrestling, I hated Hulk Hogan.
How old are you now again?
36.
Ali, your favorite, does John Cena irritate you?
As a face, he needs to go heel. And then
Okay.
I might like him.
Okay. Is that going to be your wrestling pose, by the way? Just
No,
here.
it's
Okay.
Very
It's something I
interesting.
do.
I know,
Yes.
You're like an evil genius in
Well,
an
that-
Austin Powers movie.
Maybe that's his work ethic.
Okay, yeah, and you probably have John Cena that is one of the worst finishing maneuvers called the attitude adjustment, which is kind of like a soft Death
Yeah.
Valley driver sorts.
And what happened to
which
his
brings-
wresting ability? Like that just seemed to go away
Yeah.
too. Like if you watch his early stuff, like he could wrestle
Yeah.
and stuff, and now it's like he hit him with a clothesline, and he falls on his butt.
Right, exactly.
Like yeah, it's like weird. It's like all these guys once they become
He's a leg-
superstars,
yeah.
their work ethic.
Even
kinda
before
goes up.
WWE, the prototype,
right?
he was great back then. Then as soon as
point.
he comes into WWE,
But the one thing I gotta say though, I do appreciate is that the fact that he doesn't turn heel, because that's always
Right.
the easy answer for guys when they start getting booed. Is that okay? I'm gonna turn heel now because they don't like me. It's like then work with it. Like,
Right.
And that's one thing. That was one of my favorite promos he did the last year was when he he defended why he still fights for those fans, and he could care less about the fans who boo him. That was like his best promo in like a year. Because a lot of times they do that, like the fans might start, just because they want to be cool, they start booing the
Yeah.
good guy, and then they change him into a bad guy, and then the guys who were originally cheering him as a bad guy are now boo. You know, it's like they kind of make, like they happened with Rock. You know, when he started getting booed again as a face, and he's another one that he should have never turned either. Turned face, they start booing him. He turns heel, they're cheering him again. It's like,
Right.
and it just makes for bad reactions on TV, because then it's like you got a mixed reaction for everybody. You got a bunch of tweeners, and I mean, tweeners are people that just aren't good enough to do it as a face or a heel.
Hey,
Good guy or bad guy.
You know, we mentioned that terrible finishing move, which brings us to our next topic, which is kind of your favorite finishing moves from any wrestler in any time in any brand. Ali, let's start off with you. Kind of, was there a finishing move that kind of stuck out in your mind that you're like, oh my goodness, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen?
Well, it's not easy. You know, it's not hard to tell that
Talk.
it's the rock bottom.
The rock bottom?
The rock bottom.
Okay. Now you've kind of incorporated into your own repertoire, if you will, right?
Exactly.
And you call it the
Shabaaz Smash.
Shabaaz
Smash.
Corey was the first person to
Okay.
meet.
Right. Corey called it the Corey Crush, I think too. Richard, any finishing moves that kind of stuck out in your mind?
There's actually quite a lot.
Okay, is that the setup for your answer? And here your answer is right now.
There was the DDT, the DVD.
The STF.
That's,
All right.
oh, but honestly, the biggest move that stuck out for me was the Ace Crusher
Okay.
and the Diamond Cutter.
Okay.
Just because it can come out of nowhere.
Kind of like you.
Come out of nowhere.
Yeah, just.
Surprise!
By the way, just for the record, we love Richard. Like, honestly, we just love Richard, and Richard knows that we're joking. I hope. Dangerous Daryl Bonilla, your favorite wrestling move watching wrestling growing up? Finishing move, excuse me.
Yeah, the first one that I really enjoyed was the Randy Savage elbow drop, and then it was the perfect plex.
Okay.
Like, I thought that was pretty impressive to pull off. So like that was the first two that really stuck out to me. And then as time goes on, then you know, Dr. Det, Steve Williams, back driver, that looked
Yeah.
deadly. Like every time he hit that, it's just like, oh my god. So that was one that was like impressive and also scary. You know what I mean? Just to kind of watch it. So, but that was some of the stuff.
Anyone in AZW that kind of blows your mind? Their finishing move?
You gotta go ahead. Jeff's shooting star press is pretty impressive.
Right. For his size too.
Yeah.
He's a kind of a yoked guy, and he's 220 pounds. But people forget that he was a gymnast. He was an Olympian for Guam. So certainly living up to the Mr. Athletic title of his name. So
Yeah, that's-
shooting star press, that's a good one. Richard, anyone in AZW?
Jeff Cobb, but not the shooting star press.
Okay.
The move that impresses me is when, that fall away moonsault.
Right.
That
And he
does.
holds on. Right. Ali,
Well, to be
Smash,
ironic,
smash.
I actually like the highlight of the night.
the highlighter.
The highlight of the night.
The highlight of the night. Okay.
Yes.
No.
That is, of course, from.
Corey Oliver.
There you go. Corey actually debuted, I believe, back at Halloween Hangover in 2011. Again, you can go ahead and check that out on Olelo On Demand at olelo.org. All right, couple minutes in the show. It's time for word association. You guys, if you guys can grab your cards and your pens. Thank you very much, Richard. As I'll explain to the gang at home what is going to go on. I'm going to give them a topic, and they have to write down the first word in their mind that pops to their head about that topic. Keep it clean, keep it legible, and please no pictures, but if you're going to draw one, at least make it funny, okay? But keep the pictures clean. Ali, you ready?
Yes.
Richard, you ready? Boss?
Absolutely.
Here we go. First one. Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon, the first thing that pops into your head about Vince McMahon, the owner, CEO of World Wrestling Entertainment. Under a lot of scrutiny, the last sole remaining organization for about 4 years or so, and then TNA came onto the scene. But certainly the most thriving one, the most successful one here. Everyone ready? All right, let's start off with you, Ali. When you think of Vince McMahon, you wrote down, "You're fired." Perfect. 2 words. Why did you write "you're fired"?
Because that's what he always used to say to Austin for some reason.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Richard, Vince McMahon, you wrote down, as we get a close up on your pores. Chicken.
Trying
Chicken.
to keep it clean.
Trying to keep it clean? Okay.
Well, I mean, what sticks out in my mind is his words with DX when they played with the sound system.
Another word for chicken.
Oh, I see.
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
I got it. Okay, perfect, perfect. DDB, you wrote down.
I hope I spelled it correctly.
I hope you did too. You wrote down pioneer. Yes, you did.
Okay, good. Yeah, I mean, whether you love or hate the guy, I mean, you cannot fault what he did for professional wrestling. I mean,
Okay.
he put it on the map, you know, and
Okay.
you know, if realistically, if he wasn't doing what he was doing, we probably wouldn't have any wrestling right now, you know. And if we did, it'd probably be on a small scale. So give him his due, you know. He did kind of pioneer this era that we have wrestling right now.
You're fired, chicken, and pioneer. Good stuff so far. Round one. Here we go. Round two. You can throw that if you want to. There you go. David Letterman style. All right, here we go. Round number two. Next one is a little bit different, not wrestling related, and you can actually make this more than one word. Actor you would like to play you in a movie about yourself. Each of you are starring in a movie. Which actor do you want to play you? And again, we ask these questions to kind of let the fans at home pry the minds of these guys in Action Zone Wrestling. Like to have a little fun here on In the Zone. This is going to be a very interesting one to see. If round one was any indication of what round two is going to be, this should be fun. All right, we started off with Ali last time. Let's go to Richard now. Senior official, Richard Hamasaki. Though, first off, what is your movie called? What would you call it?
The Jacket.
The Jacket. Okay.
Probably.
Okay, great. Okay. And you wrote down the actor, DDB. Oh, that's awesome. Wow.
I don't know if my Puerto Rican hair can grow out into a ponytail.
All right.
I'm gonna have to straighten it out.
What is it about DDB, Richard? By the way, can you look at me? Like, can we see you in profile real quick? Can we just put on Richard for a second? Can we go in look at me for a second? Can we just show the ponytail? There it is.
There we
Yes,
go.
there.
Because otherwise people are like, what is DDB talking
Yeah,
about?
exactly. Yeah, no. So why DDB?
Because he's a great actor.
Okay. Well,
Wow, no, I really feel bad about
I know. You're a
Sorry,
nice guy,
Richard.
Richard.
I know.
You get a raise.
Yeah.
Yes.
DDB, you wrote down? The actor to play you would be Ben Stiller.
Yeah, Ali,
that's
you're
what you
next.
wrote.
No, I mean,
What?
I've been told that, you know, I look like him or not. I don't know. You know, I've been told I look like a lot of guys. Ben Stiller, Steve-O, a lot of people, different people. So, but I figure Ben Stiller's a better actor than Steve-O. So
Yeah, exactly,
I'd rather
right.
go, and you know, at least you know the movie's gonna make some money.
Exactly. Yeah. If not at the museum, made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Exactly.
The DDB movie could make at least half of that.
Oh yeah.
What's it called, by the way?
My movie?
Yeah.
It'll be called 11.
11.
I'm sorry, 11.
There you go. Ali, what is your movie called?
Shabaaz, of course.
Shabaaz, okay. You're just gonna brand that Shabaaz name. I love it. I love it. Ali Shabaaz, in the movie Shabaaz.
You know.
The actor that's playing you is Michael White.
Michael J. White.
Michael J. White. Who's he from?
He played Tyson in the Mike Tyson movie.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Also,
And he
Bone
al-
and Blood.
Dark Knight, he was the one that got.
Oh,
hated
okay.
The Joker.
Okay, now I got you. Okay. What is it about Michael J. White?
You know, first of all, he gotta look good. You know.
Okay,
He gotta be-
okay.
Gotta
And
be
you
tight.
look
He gotta
you
be
look pretty
tight.
dapper with that hat on. And?
And like DDB said, did you see him in Tyson?
That's right. Okay. Pretty good choice. So Michael J. White.
Obviously, he didn't see him in Tyson. He
No, I
didn't
did,
know
yeah,
who he was.
I know exactly. I'll YouTube him. DDB and Ben Stiller. All right, good.
Absolutely,
Here we go. You toss your cards away.
yeah. I did already.
Okay.
I must have had you, Felipe.
Okay. Next one. We'll go back to wrestling. The best stable in pro wrestling. The best stable in pro wrestling. And if there's time, we'll do one more, so make sure you keep this card. The best stable that you've ever seen in pro wrestling. A lot of different ones come to mind. The Four Horsemen, DX. I hope I'm not stealing any of these guys' answers as I'm mentioning them. Yep, that's right, fans. Ben Stiller is going to play DDB. He doesn't know it. We'll work all that stuff out with his agent.
Absolutely.
DDB also an accomplished local actor, by the way.
Thank you very much, Felipe.
Okay. Here we go. We started off with you two. Let's go to DDB now first.
Okay.
The best stable in pro wrestling.
Don't
You
get
wrote
mad
down.
at me,
Okay.
but I did two answers. One is locally in
Oh,
Hawaii, and
okay.
then one is nationally.
Okay.
So here we go.
You wrote down Vicious Circle
Locally,
and the Heart Foundation.
nationally.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for the Heart Foundation, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of the Heart Foundation. And I'm talking about the 1997 Heart Foundation.
Okay,
You
yeah.
know, that short run they had, which was so memorable. You know, like one of the things that I hated about the screw job, Montreal screw job, was that it broke up the Heart Foundation. You know, and so definitely the Heart Foundation, really enjoyed them. And then the Vicious Circle, you know, I got to be a part of it, and even before I was a part of it, I was a fan of it. Like, because I thought Hawaii wrestling was kind of corny and horrible and crappy. And then I saw, you know, Black Rain, these tag team come on TV. I was like, wow, these guys know what they're talking about. And then I got to be a part of it, and you know, we made some history. Vicious Circle, baby.
Keep it. All right. Richard Hamasaki, you wrote down 4 Horsemen. What sticks out in your mind about them?
Just each of the guys separately were awesome.
Okay.
Together,
Right on.
unbeatable.
Ali, you wrote down?
NOD for Nation of Domination.
And then you wrote down, what is that?
Until Owen Hart was in it.
Until Owen.
That's when they got. That's when they got better.
No offense.
Okay.
Oh, so you
No
like the
offense.
Savio Vega Crush version of Nation of Domination,
No.
the original?
I like when The Rock was in charge.
Okay, excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Right on. Well, guys, thank you very much for being on this edition of Action Zone Wrestling in the Zone. Ali, your first experience, how you liking in the zone so far?
I thought I was going to get picked on a lot more than what I did.
You will after
but-
this airs.
Yeah. You get a
You'll get it after this airs. Trust me.
you get a 1 show pass. Okay.
But overall, it was excellent.
Ali, thank you so much. Richard, always a professional. Great job as always. Boss, you know what you do. Thanks for joining us.
Shabazz.
All right, make sure you go check out previous clips of Action Zone Wrestling. You can log on Olelo On Demand, olelo.org. Special thanks to the terrific women and men of our Olelo crew, for Ali, for Richard, for DDB, Felipe, saying so long from our AZW studios here in Mapunapuna. Until next time, aloha.
Work ethnic.